Welcome to Small Business Big Visibility. I'm really excited. I've got Missy Mae Taylor, and she is an entrepreneur. She's owned multiple businesses. She's a sales expert, business coach. She's a MAP practitioner coach, which I want you to touch on and explain what MAP is. And then she also travels all the time, and she's built a business structure where it allows her and her family to go and travel and see different places and still keep in touch with what you're doing in business, right? So tell us your story. How did you get to this place in life?
Oh my goodness. It's like, how far back do we want to go? Like,
When you were 2 years old, right?
oh gosh, we're going clear
What
back.
was your first business experience? What introduced you into the world of business?
I am a daughter of two entrepreneurs. My father owned a trucking company and my mother owned a craft business. So I grew up in business, around business, working in their businesses. And then my first business was a craft business, like just doing shows, things like that. Then I did some network marketing, was also a teacher, but always had things going on the side. And then, as you know, we've talked before, like I have done e-commerce, Amazon private label brand, drop shipping, Shopify for people, social media manager, run Facebook ads, like all the pieces, right?
Yeah.
Until it's like, what do I really want to do with my life?
Hmm.
What is my mark here that I want to leave? Right? Because you can try all of these different things and they don't satisfy you, right? Because you might be like, oh, I just need to make pay my bills or make
Right.
ends meet or whatever it is. So you're trying this thing and that trend and then I think you just get to a place where you're just like, I don't care if I lose it all. Like I'm here to leave my mark on this planet. What do I really truly want to create? And that's where I am now,
Hmm.
like with this.
Yeah.
So to give you just a little bit, I chased a lot of things to try to heal myself as far as just trauma that I had endured and personal development and seminars and books and programs and you name it. And it wasn't because I know you said to touch on this, it wasn't until I found MAP that helped me more than anything in my
Hmm.
life, which I was like, I personally feel like every program out there needs somebody that's certified in MAP because people start programs, they don't finish them. It's those internal blocks. The beliefs. It's those things from the past that are blocking them. That they need the emotions neutralized so they can truly move forward. And it wasn't until I started working on that stuff that I've actually found momentum and fulfillment. And even when things aren't going right, per
Hmm.
se, I'm at peace because I'm following my path in my heart and I'm helping who I want to help, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So what is MAP?
MAP is called Make Anything Possible. It was founded by a woman called Colette Stryker, and she grew up in France. Her parents were in the war, and they were PTSD. They had both had PTSD, and her mother dealt with a lot of things psychologically through
Mhm.
that. Addiction issues, wanting to take her own life a lot. And she came home one time and saw her mom on the floor and as a little girl, and thought she was dead.
Oh, wow.
And she just hit, and it turned out she was just passed out. But she basically made a commitment then and there. I will dedicate the rest of my life to solving this problem for people. I don't ever want them to have to deal with this deep of depression and these type of feelings. Like, show me the way. So she became a psychologist, psychiatrist, like you name the method out there, hypnosis, EMDR, tapping, like all of the things, energy healing, energy work, energy psychology. And it wasn't until she had some very challenging patients, like
Mhm.
that they wouldn't go in public and their skin would be raw. They'd scrub it so hard, extreme bipolar, schizophrenia, all kinds of different things that she was like, I need something more. And
Mhm.
she came across this doctor called Dr. Gary Flint's work, and he had years with some of the most challenging out there. And she was reading his work, and she was like, okay, this is amazing. It's just basically he found a way to, I'm going to do my best to explain this, but when we experience trauma, sometimes we have trauma parts that break off.
Hmm.
And so there's like the main personality, and then we can have amnesic parts. And so it's like, let's say something happened to you when you're little, you're in a car accident, Jason, and you had no former, prior, anything in your memory to know how to deal with that when
Ah,
you were hit all of a
yeah.
sudden out of no, right? A trauma part can be created that isn't like, and it might remember things that you don't remember. Like I kind of think of it as like recording the whole
Mhm.
time. But any time that a memory in the future reminds you of that all of a sudden instant trauma that you felt, you can be triggered and that trauma part can step in instead. And
Oh.
you'll flip out and you'll not act like yourself and all of those things because it's trying to protect you, right? So that trauma doesn't happen again. And he basically found that there is a part of our brain, just like we know now we can heal our own bodies, right?
Hmm.
The brain can also heal itself. There's a part of our brain that can heal itself, and just consciously like training that, it's called the superconscious of how to do the work and the healing to neutralize those emotions where you're not then triggered and you can move forward with whatever it is. It's just a process that she got with him and developed over years of time so that it was easy, fast, gentle, work for everyone, and comprehensive and complete. So now it's her life's work to teach it to others, to help people remove those blocks so they can truly create and make anything possible in their lives that they want because they're no longer being triggered by the internal stuff that's blocking them.
Right, right. And so you had all these different experiences in your life, some good, some bad, some business experiences, right? And somehow it led you on this journey to discover this make anything possible. And now that's a key component of where you're heading in the future, right?
Absolutely, 100%.
That,
Yes.
and so who is it that you're now working with in the make anything possible world? Like who is it that you're helping?
Yeah, so I help spiritual coaches, healers, light workers, because that's who I feel has helped me the most. That's kind of what I categorize, maybe the MAP category. I help them with my sales expertise learn how to close because a lot of times people who are very heart-centered have a very weird, maybe that's not the right adjective, but have a idea around sales that isn't necessarily serving them,
Hmm.
right? They think, let's charge low prices or we need to do things for free. And they really don't realize that charging more is actually service to their clients. They show up better, they get better transformation. It's removing those mindset blocks around sales that they're actually allowed. I mean, they give better in their lives. They show up better when their families are taken care of, when they're doing it right at their highest. So that is kind of where I mix the two because that's who's helped me the most. And now I'm like, now I'm here to help you with sales because that's my background and that's what I know how to do. So I'm going to teach you how to close, help you get more people into your programs when you're having those conversations where it's not uncomfortable. You truly see it as love because you are a heart-centered person. So helping them, sales is how you help them, if
Hmm.
that makes
Okay.
sense.
And so how did you get into this world of sales? And like how did you discover that you have this special gift and ability to be able to communicate with people effectively?
Interesting. I don't know if I consider myself having a special, like gift or ability, but I would say like my father, in building his business, we struggled a lot when I was a little girl. And he created, he worked for a business with construction, like building bridge beams, hospitals, things like that. And one day to who he worked for, he was like, why are we paying all these trucking companies like to haul our stuff? Why don't we just get our own trucks? Right. And then they started with 3 trucks.
Hmm.
And then, long story short, ended with 500 a few years
Whoa.
ago, sold the company like over time, build a huge company. But I saw him growing up, and I don't know if he would define his role as sales, but that's exactly what he was. But I personally think everything is sales. relationship, even talking to your kids, right? You have to get them on board. It's
Hmm.
making about the other person, not about you. So just seeing him build his business through relationship, communication, he had so much loyalty with his customers because of the relationship that they built.
Mm.
So I always saw that growing up. So I think it just naturally came. So I almost always done something in sales, even when I was doing other things. Always had some type of side business. But if I cut to the recent future,
Mhm.
I was a teacher and I was not fulfilled.
Mm.
I knew I had like a bigger calling, a bigger purpose. I still love to teach. I love to train, um, but not in necessarily a classroom setting, right? In public
Yeah.
school. So I had done so many programs, Jason, which I'm sure you have done programs, right? All of the things.
Mhm.
And it was those blocks inside of me that just kept being, oh, you need another certificate. Oh, you need to do this. And you're not prepared yet. You're not ready, right? It's that old stuff, that old programming.
Yep.
And it wasn't until I started doing some MAP and I was like, you know what? I am not doing a program to learn how to close. I'm just going to go get a job, right, as a closer, and I'm going to be paid to learn the skill
Mm.
this time.
Nice. Yeah.
And I thought that it was going to be like, oh, yeah, I'll just apply, I'll get right in, you know. And then I heard all these other people being like, do you know anywhere we can go to get a closer? Like, I had put in over 100 applications and I can't get hired anywhere. And I was like, what? Here, I thought I was just going to put it in and get right on and whatever. And so I didn't actually even like apply, put it in. And then I was like, what are you doing? Like it's it's not going to change anything. Like you're going to be in the exact same spot if they say no, if you don't get it, like let's go, right? What are
Right.
you doing? I
Yeah.
was pregnant with my third child at the time and I put it in. It went exactly how I thought it was going to go. I got immediately hired. I was on right away. I actually became their top closer in my very first month
Whoa.
at 9 months pregnant. And then over time, I was their first team lead. So then they assigned their closers under me to start training them and teaching them. And then they promoted some other team leads. So I started helping the closers close better. And as I did my work and my personal healing, which is always ongoing, right?
Yep.
I was like, who do I really want to help? And that's who I wanted to help because I had seen such a big difference in my life. And if
Mm.
I tell you just a couple things as far as when I was pregnant, that's when like the father of my children moved out when I was 6 weeks pregnant with our third child.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's when I closer and all of those things. And because of and we did not have the greatest relationship in our marriage, but because of all of the clearing and the things that I've done with MAP, we have one of the most amazing co-parenting relationships today on the planet. He truly wants what's best for me. I want what's best for him. We are on the forefront, united for our kids. And if it can do that for me when I formally would have who I was, been thinking, oh, just all of the things that happens in a breakup, if it
Oh,
can
yeah,
do that, um, everybody needs to know about this.
for
So.
sure. Yeah. But I mean, just going back to that whole sales side, to go from being I know nothing and they're going to train me to month one top producer. I mean, that speaks a little bit to some innate ability, I think, right? Like not very many people can accomplish that.
Probably, and I don't even know if it's innate ability, but like I said, everything is sales, I truly believe. And I grew up doing plays and dramas and on stage and skits and musicals and things like that. So I think that's a little bit of sales too, right? You're selling yourself.
Yeah.
You have to keep their
Totally.
attention. You have to get them entertained. You have to, all of those things, plus seeing my dad. But then when I did all of the programs, because, oh, I need to know more and I got to learn this and I've got to learn this, that it was just time. There comes a time when you have got to stop consuming and you have to create,
Yeah.
right? And I think it was also a surprise to myself as well to be like, okay, I know a lot more than I thought that I did. So when I started like just learning actual principles from them, it was like, okay, just take the advice, right, and keep doing it.
Mhm.
I also think so many people get wound like thinking that you arrive, right? And then everything's going to be great and everything's going to be perfect. And it's not. It's who you become in that process of being able to get up again, being able to hear the no's, right? Maybe it didn't go exactly as you planned, but then changing and adjusting from there. So when you're met with that conversation again, you can handle it better and just learning.
Right. Yeah, a lot of continually getting up, moving forward, getting knocked down, getting up, moving forward, right?
Yes. Yes.
So
100%.
do you teach people how to do sales more effectively and how to have those conversations?
I absolutely do. Yes. I just completed my first program called High Ticket Heart Centered Sales, and I am beyond happy and excited and amazed by the way that it went and the responses from my students. Like, I just thought, oh, this is going to be my beta, right? And then people coming out on the other end just sending me their reviews and being like, everyone needs to take this course, like everyone on the planet, like not even just people in sales, not just spiritual coaches, like parents, teachers, like you name people in relationships, anyone who talks to anyone. And so for me, I was like, I'm on the right path. I'm following my heart. Yeah, so now that is a recorded program. I may do it live again because it was really fun. I love the people that I'm working with. And now I'm just starting a MAP program with
Mhm.
them to remove those blocks, and then we'll go from there. But yes, just to tell you about my process, I teach a method that I call sailing the seven C's, because they all start with C,
Nice.
of closing. Okay. So we take them from connection to close, following these seven steps. And just to tell you the heart of it, if I were to wrap it up, like the biggest component is to I tell this analogy in my course.
Uh-huh.
Basically, like, Jason, picture that you are a documentary filmmaker.
Okay.
Okay. You're out there with your camera and you're recording and you're getting the story and you're zooming in on the people and you're like making sure you get the lighting right and you're like, let me get all, that they're saying. But in your head, you're worried about yourself. You're worried about what they're going to think of you. You have your anxiety, or like, am I going to do this, the best that I can? Are they going to know this about me? What if I don't, make this perfect, or whatever it is, those thoughts going inside. You get home, you're excited, to start working on your footage. You're like, oh, I've got to make this, like, all this pressure, right, is on. This has got to be good. And then you start looking at the footage, and guess what, Jason? You realize that that whole time that you were out and filming, you didn't even have the camera turned the right way. You had it turned on you the entire
Mm,
time, and you're supposed to be catching their story,
right.
right? And them. And that's what I say, like in sales, like when you're work, am I going to close this? Am I going to pay my bills? Are they going to
Mm,
know this about you? Have it focused on you. And if we can turn that camera around and you truly make it about the other person, connecting with them, what do they truly need? What do they truly want? What's
mm,
the what's it costing them if they don't go there? Right? Then you just become like a coach. You're listening and then you guide them, right? If you can truly help them, it's my personal belief, it's almost an ethical obligation then to do everything that you can to get them to that close, to the
right.
sale, so you can help them get what they want, if that makes sense.
Oh, totally. Yeah. What a powerful story that you can share that. I mean, it immediately makes sense. If I'm zooming in on me the whole time, I'm telling a terrible story. If I focus on them, I'm telling the real story. Same in sales. That's such a good analogy. Thanks for sharing that. I'm sure our audience is going to love that little nugget.
Yes, even today, right? Because you inviting me here, it might seem like, hey, I'm here, like, you need to know about my business. You need to know what I'm doing. And just before we got on, it's just me taking the time to tune in and set that intention for whoever is listening today. Let me share what they need to hear. Let me make this about them. That it's not just, oh, can I get, customers that are right of my customer base. This is about sharing a message because we're all on our journey. We're all on our path. And wherever are at, hearing something that can change it for you. Like celebrating yourself along the way. We never actually arrive. It's a constant thing, of who we become. And just getting in alignment with what you truly want and what you want to give to the world and what mark you want to leave here while we're
Mm,
here.
yeah. And so what is it when you're not in the business world that you do in this world on this journey? What are some of the things you do for fun?
Some of the things I walk every day. I love walks. I
Uh-huh.
have three kids, 14-year-old, three boys, 12-year-old, 18-month-old. So always taking him on stroller rides. We go to the pool, we travel. I love to go to conferences, things like that. Just went to the biohacking conference. I love anything that like helps like nootropics, your brain work better, all kinds of things like
Mm. Did
that.
you see did you see Tyler Watson at that conference?
I did not but I was also at helping with a booth at the
Oh, okay.
time. So I only got to see a few people speak, like Dr. Joe Dispenza, things
Ah,
like that. But
gotcha.
yes,
Oh, very cool.
yes,
Okay. Yeah, he had a
they've
booth
asked
and
for your
also
book as
spoke
well, but
there, I
yeah.
believe. So,
Oh, cool.
yeah, yeah. I'm a
Awesome.
huge fan of what he's doing, similar in that to that vein of how do we help rewire brains, right? And that's his whole world too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Anything with people, social, just
Mhm.
getting out there. Um, I've always loved the stage and drama and speaking to people and just connecting. So a lot of
Very
times that
cool.
comes in the form of travel.
Yeah. So, what took you to the biohacking conference?
Yeah, so I got involved with it just kind of landed in my lap, involved with this community and through MAP, I ended up helping her. She has two closers and I helped them. I just sent an email one day and we had a meeting and then I started helping them and she ended up recommending me to another community. He was like, "Do you know anyone in high ticket sales?" And she was like, "Get with Missy. She's the best." And so then I met with who leads that group and just kind of got involved there, which is that. And then he was like, "I need your course yesterday,"
Mm,
which is how I even got started recording my course and then him offering it to his community. And yeah, just different things when you let go and allow, follow the flow, and you don't have to have it all figured out. And that's kind of where I am, right? Just
mm,
when I tune in and I listen, all I keep hearing right now, Jason, is trust the process. I don't have to know 50 steps ahead of me. I just have to know the next step, right? And take the next step. And that's what I'm doing, trusting the
that-
process, being there for who's in front of me, and
mhm.
just doing my best.
That's powerful. I was listening to Joe Vitale. He's been a huge influence for me, and he talks about becoming a servant of the divine, as how he describes it. And he's like, when you're willing to let go and say, okay, I'm willing to do what I'm supposed to. I just need to know what that next step is, right? And be willing to walk wherever you're supposed to. And it sounds kind of like that's where you're at in life.
It is where I'm at right now in my life. And I would also say, I feel like that's also where you are at because you were such a servant and amazingly so, and being a guest, right, on during my program and coming and just how you showed up, your frequency, your energy. There's so much in your voice, Jason, that's powerful. You can tell the path that you've walked on.
Mm,
You were so accepting of my students, however they came. You came with no judgment whatsoever. You came there truly to serve, and every one of my students could feel that. Every one of them had so many good things to say about you, and I can just feel in your frequency, right? That's where you're at, right? I'm here to serve. I don't have to know the next 50 steps. Show me the next step and lead the way. And that is how that all came about, I think.
totally. Yep. Yeah, that's definitely kind of where I'm at in life as well, is like, let's figure out where the impact is, what I'm supposed to be doing, where can I have that influence for good, how can I lift others, and then just taking that action.
Taking that action. And one thing I want to say to that too is because of the clientele that I work with, right, with the spiritual healers, coaches, light workers, a lot of times I think when we start that, we can over servitude isn't the word, but like if you're only about others and you're not giving to yourself, that's not how it's supposed to be, if that makes sense. You have to learn to give yourself what you need first, right? Be that, love yourself first, put yourself first, give that part. I truly believe you can't truly serve others until you have done that for yourself. Because I can remember parts of my life where when you're trying to do things for others, at least in my experience, it was almost like it's because I wanted to be saved.
Mm,
I wanted someone to come help. I felt I needed like a savior. It wasn't until I realized that's me, right? Like no one's coming to save you, girl. Like if you don't figure it out and start taking the steps, right? It's not going to happen. And
right.
it wasn't until I started giving to myself and truly taking care of those things in the past, like the trauma and the things that were blocking me and keeping me stuck and having me act in a way I didn't want to act, right? Or having me be in a way I didn't want to be. Till I started taking care of that, it's, I don't think that I truly was able to truly serve others, if that
Mm.
makes sense. So I think that part, yes, we are there for others, but if you're missing that component, go inward first. We've got to get that inside part first before you can truly help on the outward.
Yeah, yeah, I love the concept of love your neighbor as yourself, right? And if you're
100%.
hating on
Yeah.
yourself all day long and negative on yourself, you can't really lift others very much, can you? Right? So you've got to make sure that you're aligned internally.
Absolutely. Aligned internally. I don't know if you've ever heard anyone say this before, but a statement I heard one time that was profound for me was, and it was another doctor that does things with rewiring the brain, but it was all judgment. This is big. All judgment is self-judgment.
Mm,
So when you're actually out there judging this person and right? It was kind of like every single time when I'm like being critical about someone else, or you have to bring that conscious awareness, be like, where is that within me? What have I not dealt with there? Why is this in my awareness right now
mm,
and triggering me, right? Or causing this response? And a lot of times you haven't accepted that part of yourself, right? Or love that part or forgiven that part or whatever it is. And that's why you're passing the judgment on the others around you.
right. Totally. Yep. Makes sense. If you've got a broken arm, you're going to protect that arm. And if you have something else broken inside of you, you're on high alert if anyone else is going to offend that part of you. And then you're judging them to try and figure out how do I protect myself, right? And once you can heal that, whew, life life just goes so much better.
Yes.
And then
Yes. And
like,
then if you get a broken bone again, it's not that big of a deal because you're like, okay, I've got to fix this, heal this, right? Because we're
right.
never like, perfect.
Yeah. And I've got a good friend who always says, if you're a business owner, your business will not outgrow you. You have to be working
Mm.
internally and he associates with billionaires and people that have hundreds of millions of dollars. And he always says the same thing about him. He says there's a few that are outliers that are terrible people, but mostly they're really good at communication. They know who they are. They treat others with respect. They're able to articulate what they're hoping to get. And then they're respectful of helping other people in that journey too. And he says it's just always the same thing. And so, as each of us go throughout life, the people who have achieved that success all have those same skills and those abilities. So, if we've got those things that are broken inside of us that are preventing us to move to that next level, we're going to be stuck until we take time, like you said, to go in and fix that inside. And then we can shine a little bit brighter to the world.
Absolutely 100%. I'm over here saying amen, amen, amen. Jason, same thing in the closing world, right? Like when you are with sales and you're dealing with people's stuff, right? Because when I don't know how many sales calls you've taken in your life, but I've listened to a lot of people cry. A lot. Like on some day, I just felt like that I was a therapist, right? You're going deep and you're hearing all
Right.
kinds of their stuff. But I don't think there's anything better than sales that brings up your stuff for you to look at. Like it'll trigger you. And until you're taking care of that, I can't really help the person in front of me through that.
Mm.
overcome that fear within themselves, overcoming what's blocking them, overcoming them to believe in themselves until I've done that within myself. Same thing with your clients, right? You'll reach levels, and until you conquer it within yourself, you're not going to get that many results for the people underneath you. And it puts that much more responsibility on us as well, right? To just keep rising for ourselves so we can also help others.
Yeah, absolutely. So looking back through your life and all your business success and all the things you've tried and tested and done, what would you say is one of those big successes that you've had?
When you say like big successes, what do you mean? Like clarify just a little bit.
I mean, what was momentous to you? What was an accomplishment that meant something? And not necessarily a success to the world, but something that really was like, yeah, that was huge for me. Anything in business or any in that world, what is it that you've accomplished or done that you're like, wow, that's something that I want to hang on the wall, so to speak?
I think not getting in your own head, like people will maybe put the term self-sabotage, which my belief is it's really self-prophecy. It's something in you trying to protect yourself. That's why you're doing it.
Hmm.
Is even when you're scared, show up. Be a person of your word. Follow it. Like if you are weary of others, then you're probably not taking the actions that you say you're going to take within yourself. You show up, be trustworthy to yourself, be a person that you can depend on, right? Become someone in the light, in the dark, right? That you're not scared of what can be shown or seen to others. Accept it. And even when you feel those little butterflies, right? That fear, oh my gosh, this is new. Like, let's just say, even this podcast today, right? I can tell you who I was years ago. I probably would have canceled last minute. Why? Because it was different. It was something new, right? I would have had those uncomfortable feelings showing up. And today it's just like, I love this. Let's do something new. Even, right? This is how I grow. This is how I see those things, right? Within me, you show up as you are, completely, perfectly imperfect. And even if you mess up, that's part of the game. That's part of life. That's who we are. We're humans and we learn and we go on. And I'm not judging myself for it, right? Which helps me to judge others less as well. So just show up, even when you're scared, do it anyway. If it's on your path to what you truly want.
Yeah, yeah, failing forward, right? Not being afraid of the failures and accepting that that is part of the journey. Like no one gets through life without making a mistake. That's the whole way life is built.
Yes. And I actually don't even believe in failure. I know that that's weird. I think it's all learning. Like I
Mm,
always teach my kids, right? How anyone that you look at and that you admire, it's just because they put the work in, they put the practice in, they have grown, they have become who they wanted to become. But you don't see all that stuff behind the scenes. And what you would look at as failure, like the biggest winners in the world, they've lost probably more than anyone.
right.
They've messed up more than anyone. They've
Yep.
screwed up more than anyone. But they've picked themselves up. They've kept going. They've taken the next step, even when they couldn't see the path forward, even when they felt scared inside. And
Mm,
they trusted themselves and they just kept becoming who they want to become in the process. And we can't go there like that, right? Because it's in the becoming that
yeah.
we build that.
Yeah, and I think that social media has made this problem worse, but it seems like it's human nature that I'll look over here and be like, "Oh my goodness, so and so is really successful." And then I look inward at myself and I'm like, "Oh, I have all these negative things. I fail, I'm scared, I don't know what to do, I'm not good enough, blah 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 blah." And I look at their best and compare it to my worst and be like, "I can
Mhm.
never accomplish that because," and then I list out all my problems, but I have no clue what they deal with or what they've overcome, right? We simply don't see it. And so I love that idea that you're saying, you know what? Just keep plowing through, keep pushing forward. The successful, they've lost made all kinds of mistakes. Really, that's a powerful idea that if people, I think, could internalize that, the whole world would be such a better place.
For sure. And even like that story that you just told, that they were once where you were, right? They're once where you are now with all of those thoughts. And it's only in the continuing to take the next step, pulling themselves back up, dealing with that stuff that comes up as they took the steps that's gotten them where they are.
Hmm. Yeah, it's really an astounding thought to look at someone and say, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago, they were a brand new baby and they knew nothing, right? And so very few people have it all handed to them on a silver platter. And the ones that do, it's obvious because they act like a 7-year-old maturity level oftentimes. But the people that have in 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years of living have built something. You rewind and you're like, they started out the same place everyone else did. They knew nothing and had virtually nothing, and they had to figure it out.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And being like allowing yourself grace through it, right? The whole way, just allowing yourself grace, allowing yourself to learn. Like I'm sure you've heard people say, right? You don't scream at a baby when they're learning to walk. Like, what are you doing? You didn't figure it out on your first step. Like, are you a loser? Like, what is wrong with you?
Just give
Right?
up.
Like,
You didn't get it, right?
yeah, you didn't get it. Like, it's not meant for you. You were not born with this talent. You're never going to walk, so don't even try. Right? Like it seems ridiculous. Like when we think of it that way, but that's what we do to ourselves all the time because it didn't go perfect. It didn't go the way that you expected. It didn't go how you thought or outlined, or you weren't amazing at it the first time that you tried. Allow yourself grace. You are learning, and that's exactly what this life is. It's all learning.
Mm. Right. Yeah, one of the phrases that I've tried to banish from my house is my kids will tell me so often, and I think I've just about got it out of their system, but they'll be like, "Oh, well, I can't." And I'll be like, "Don't ever tell me I can't. That's a lie."
Right,
Right?
right.
Yeah.
And as a teacher, I used to always say yet. Like if they're going to say that, then they better at least add a yet on the end, right? I can't yet. Maybe not today,
Hmm.
yet, because that is not indefinitely and forever, but I can take the steps that I need to take so that I can.
Right. Totally. Yeah, adding yet to it is such a good way of fixing that problem because it changes the whole mindset.
Yes. Yes.
So, where's your
For
favorite vacation you've ever been on? Jumping tracks completely, by the way,
my
because
favorite. Well,
you've done a lot of traveling, right? All over the.
I have done a lot of traveling.
Mhm.
Um, a momentous one recently would have been, I mean, I've had many trips since, but there were over 20 people in my family. We went to Key West on a family vacation in February, and just having everybody there was really cool. I really liked that one. So I think we might
Mm.
do that one in the future again as well. But yeah, when I travel, it's family, business, other things, experiences. I love experiences. But yeah, I really liked that one.
So, did you have key lime pie when you were there?
I did not.
Oh
I
my
did
God.
not. I did not have key lime pie when I was there. I know, and it's my mom's favorite, but yes, I did not.
All
But
right.
if I go back, Jason, for you, I will have some key lime pie.
Do that for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. We bought
I
some.
had a baby on my hip most of the time, so yeah.
Yeah. Pie's my thing. So, key lime. That's one of my buckets is fly down there, taste the key lime pie, and then probably fly home, right?
Oh, you got to do stuff while you're there. Yep. It's fun. It's so pretty too. Yes. Like you were talking about the boat rides, all kinds of fun things to
Oh
do. Yeah.
yeah, right. So traveling has been a big part of your life. What is some lessons you've learned from traveling?
Get out of your comfort zone. Don't just stay where you are because we get in our boxes. We think this is how it is. We think this is how the rest of the world is. And I think the smaller you keep your environment, the more closed-minded you become because
Mm,
you're in this little box. And the more you can open it up, right? Like we're city, we're state, country, right? Earth. Then, I mean, think of all the other solar systems out there. Like the bigger you can wider, right? Bigger that you can make it, then the smaller the problem. almost becomes, if that makes sense, because you're looking at it way too close and it seems so, so big. So just getting out there, experiencing other people, experiencing other cultures, it almost makes your problem seem smaller in a way. Um, because you're not just staying inside of your small little box. So get out there and see how other people do it. Learn from them. Every time I travel, there's always something that I learn from something I did not experience from where I'm at, if that
Hmm.
makes sense. That adds to my life.
Right. Totally makes sense. Yeah. So how do people get in touch with you? I mean, you've shared some really good nuggets of information. You're obviously very well skilled in this whole sales world and all these different areas. If someone wants to work with you or find out more, how do they get in touch with you or discover what it is you're doing?
This is a terrible answer, but I am just like, 100% put out there right now. It would probably just be my phone number, honestly. I've had so many websites in my life, Jason, for so all of the different areas of my life. I
Mhm.
do not have one right now for what I currently do to send people to, which magically and amazingly, I have clients, right? And then they're sending me referrals and things like that, but I will soon. So if we can just, you know, maybe plug something. Hey, it's in the comments now if you want to work with her. She's gotten it done. And let that be a resounding example that when you're following your heart and you're following your steps and you don't see the next 50 and you're right, you're okay showing up with it not being perfect.
Mhm.
You can get it in place, right? As it comes. You don't have to have everything, right? All
Yep.
figured out. But hey, look, now I do. And I
So
think
I
taking
ran a
those
web
steps
design
lets you get
company.
it done.
I ran a
I
web
know,
design
I
company.
know,
And
I know,
for
I
the
know.
first 9 months, I didn't have a website.
That's so funny. I love it though. I love that though because I mean you were still like it's like the what's the saying, right? Like the cobbler with no shoes.
Right. Yeah.
Sometimes you're taking care of everybody else's stuff and helping them get it into place until yeah.
Yeah.
Or kind of probably figuring out exactly your wording and your thing and you're helping other people. Yeah.
So what social media are you on? Because people can always connect through that, right?
Yes, yep. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram. I have a couple TikToks, but I don't use them much, but I want to
There we
more
go.
in the future. So yeah,
So
Missy Mae Taylor on Facebook. Come find me. I have a pink background, most likely. I've had it there for a couple of years, but yeah.
perfect. Well, awesome. I really appreciate you taking the time to jump on the podcast, share all your wisdom and experience and stories, and be real with people so they can understand it's okay to be yourself and to be the ever improving self. So thank you for sharing that.
Yes, it's okay to be where you're at. It's okay to not have everything perfect. It's okay. And wherever you're at, like just look back today and celebrate yourself just like you, Jason. All of the things that you've been through. Like even when you had your wife on viewing when you were on my in my course, I thought that was so beautiful, right? And to stop and to celebrate all of the things along the way because that just made me look at like your guys' relationship and think I can't even imagine all the things that they've been through, right? The ups and the
Mm.
downs that come with in a relationship, with a marriage. And here she is, right, today, supporting him, watching how he's teaching my students. And I just loved that so much. So look back, celebrate yourself, Jason. You've come through so much, you've made so many strides, right? And I know where you're going is good. I really do. Like in my heart and my soul, I'm so excited for this transition period into what is your next big move.
Awesome. Well, thank you for the kind words. I appreciate that. So,
You're welcome.
and to all of our listeners, I would love it if you'd share this episode with other people who maybe are in those moments where they're hitting those roadblocks, the internal stopping points, that self barrier, right? And let some of the wisdom that Missy shared help guide them and so that they can break through and keep moving forward.
Yes, and if you have those blocks, or the internal resistance or those feel things that you want moved out of the way, come see me. Or I'll also give you a link, Jason, if they just want to go directly to the MAP Coaching Institute that you can share with people as well. But thank you so much for having me today. Thank you so much for coming on and helping my students with your teaching. And I'm just wishing you nothing but blessings upon blessings in your life, with your relationships, and with your business.
Awesome. Thank you. And everybody, have another great day.